All right, so this is a recording of my run in Sedona. We got the head mount back on for the GoPro, so it's not as shaky. We got a good landscape view. We're starting from the Soldier Pass Trailhead, which parking in Sedona is a little sketchy, especially on weekends, especially on nice weekends. Fortunately, it was probably about 35 degrees right now, so things aren't too crowded. So I did have to hike a mile to the trailhead because the next shuttle wasn't coming for 45 minutes, and it was more efficient for me just to walk. I knew this would be a bigger loop, so I didn't want to just run to the trailhead too. I wasn't feeling a 17-mile day. But yeah, once we got here, not too crowded. There was like a significant amount of people, but the trail was pretty wide to start. So everything was very navigable. And yeah, it's Sedona, obviously. There's red sandstone pyres everywhere. Really pretty. Right now the ground is still kind of frozen, which as this run goes on, things will start to thaw. And this afternoon I actually went on a hike and it was a whole lot of mud. But right here it's very rocky. And there's an overview just of where I'm at, where I started, where I ended. I'm just checking out where to go. Last video I talked about how it's hard to see where the trail goes sometimes, especially in these really crowded areas, because people just tend to wander and go other places. But could take it that way as difficulty, but you could also take it the other way as, there's just tons of places to just go explore and just roam around. It's not like there's just one path you have to stay on. There's an overview of the run, a little over 2 hours of moving time. It ended up taking longer than that just to get back to the car because I did swing by Devil's Bridge, which you'll see me get there in this video and start to get away from. But Devil's Bridge was very crowded. Well, maybe not very crowded, but just what the trail could hold. It was much greater than what the trail could hold. So far, a pretty tame and runnable start. Nothing too major. It did, yeah, and there's your topography. The biggest climbs at the beginning. That pointy part about a third of the way through was the Devil Bridge climb. But yeah, just avoiding cacti. It was odd how the ground, like when it was dirt, had the same kind of consistency and firmness as like a track. I don't know what it had to do with like what it was made out of. It's just a lot of sandstone and mud and clay, but yeah, it had some bounce to it, which was really nice. And yeah, this trail is super fun to run on. This is definitely a mountain biker's paradise with just all the sweeping corners and just smooth ups and downs. Kind of felt like Bailey's a little bit. But yeah, everybody was very nice out in the trail. Sometimes they're a little oblivious to like what on your left meant, which maybe that doesn't happen in the Southwest, I don't know. But yeah, very pretty run. I'll drop some pictures of screenshots in here periodically to just show you where I'm at in the loop, give you some progress. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much. Those piles of rocks with the cages around them is kind of how they just mark a trail. They don't paint on trees here. They just pile up rocks, which kind of just blend in. So might need to take one from the Midwest and start painting the trees. But they don't always have trees, so paint a rock then, because you always have rocks. That's the other thing about Arizona and Ohio just being like two completely different worlds. Like they look at water like we look at rocks. They're like, oh my gosh, there's water over there. And we're like, yeah, Lake Erie, Ohio River. There's water everywhere. But we look at rocks, we're like, "Ooh, look, rocks." And they're like, "Yeah, there's rocks everywhere." But even Sedona must be kind of special because it was just very touristy, and yeah, a lot of younger people in Sedona, which they must not live here because the cost of living is super high. But yeah, just roaming around, zigzagging through people. Really good run overall. I'll stop talking now and I should just enjoy the video. climb in running terms, not rock climbing terms, but we're gaining elevation going up to Devil's Bridge. Again, you can see how many people there are, and there was that forest road type thing back there that you saw me on getting here. That's basically a really long driveway for this. It gets narrower and rockier as the trail goes up, and steeper. But everybody was still really good about letting me pass, and yeah, enjoying the run so far. Just kind of making the gains in elevation up to Devil's Bridge. Heard a lot of different languages on this part of the run. I think I heard like Russian, I think Mandarin, definitely Spanish, English, but everybody's very nice. Coming up here, seeing some icicles, and this was the group that was speaking Russian. So, kept going. They were taking pictures of the ice. Aside from everything being orange and more rocks, this felt like the most like Ohio, just because of the snow and ice everywhere, and needing to be careful. But yeah, you can see how it narrows, and I'm glad nobody was on this part, because that would have been a little slower going. Sun's still out though, because it's still Arizona. There is a series of bottlenecks coming up where kind of all the traffic just has to stop and go one way. But that's not it. It's kind of up here in a minute. Yeah, these people are, some people are much more comfortable with ice and stairs and their feet. They're much more confident in their feet than others. But they're getting out here, they're enjoying some beautiful creations. So kudos to them for sticking it out and making it happen, going and seeing the stuff and not letting their uncertainty get in the way. Kind of just climbing up here. This is the first one of the bottlenecks. Fortunately, I had good timing here and got it before these guys tried to go down. I'm going to cut the video here because up to the left is just an icy staircase that there was a line for going up and down. But check out this view. Super pretty, right? We're super close to Devil's Bridge right now. And this is kind of just this is basically like the airport gate prior to your plane taking off. Like everybody's just waiting down to go climb up that thing. So I waited here and eventually got up and saw where the bridge was at and saw how many people were up at the top and how icy it was up there, and just decided, all right, I've seen it. Time to go back down. So this is after getting through the bottlenecks again, roughly where I'm at on the loop right there. Time to start heading back down the way I came. Yeah, really just cool rocks everywhere. There's just so much. I was trying to think of like a way to describe it, but everything's just got so much texture here. Like it's just got edges and it's all sandstone, and it's a very weak sandstone. If you rub your hand on it too much, you'll flake grains off. But it's just, there's so much texture to the place. But anyway, we'll run kind of back down this trail, back to the trailhead, take a left, get back on that dirt road, that driveway, and that'll take us back down into Sedona, where I start having, that's where we're at, kind of on the map. Big old spike up to Devil's Bridge. Keep wanting to say Devil's Kettle, but that's not this state. But yeah, we'll kind of head back straight to Sedona, and I started having some navigational problems because there's more private property signs and yoga pants in this town than anything else. Well, there's more rocks than that, but other than that, private property signs and yoga pants are about second most populous. And there were times where my watch was saying, yeah, there's a trail there, and my phone saying, yeah, there's a trail there, and it's really just a gate with a private property sign on it. So, but the sidewalk's really cool. It's kind of a crushed red gravel that feels real springy like a track again, which is just this weird like clay, mud, dirt, rock mix that I think does that. And you'll see me kind of just get on the road and, keep the trail that I think I'm supposed to be on to my left. Unfortunately, you don't get to see me eventually get back on trail and then make another wrong turn and then check out Sugarloaf Mountain, which has some, I keep wanting to call it like sweetbread, but it's called Sugarloaf. Has some really good views, and then finish up at the trailhead ultimately. So yeah, that's some moral, the remainder of the story. These people were really nice. And some people were like, did you go all the way up to the top yet? And I'm like, I went really close, saw it. It's just really busy up there and kind of packed, and there's a bit of a bottleneck on the staircase. So they're like, oh, okay. They're like, and they look all concerned. I'm like, you guys can do it. Take your time. You'll be fine. And they're like, oh, okay. And they keep going, thanks. They say thanks. And so, yeah, it's just sharing information about what's ahead so people are prepared and can plan their day accordingly, I think is one of the better parts about just, trail outside culture. So, yeah, that's the gist of the run. I'll try to put some music to the end of this. It's somewhat relaxing, and kind of let you enjoy it.